I'm Duncan.
And I'm Tony, and we're the Traveling Brothers.
Welcome to the Traveling Brothers talk show, in which we talk about things that might be of interest, they might not be of interest, but we don't really care because
they're either interesting
or they're stupid.
Or awkward.
Or stupid.
Or both.
Or stupid. Today's episode is inspired by The Dark Knight Rises, coming out this Friday, July 20th, unless you are watching this at some future point, in which case it was the past Friday of July 20th. And obviously a lot of excitement is going up around it because it's the big finale of Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight trilogy. We have our own feelings about the Dark Knight trilogy. We'll get to that probably later on in the week. We'll be covering all the big Batman news as the week progresses. But today, we are talking about not Christopher Nolan's Batman, but Batman Beyond Christopher Nolan. Not Batman Beyond. Not Batman Beyond the TV series that was... I don't know if it was good. I don't remember. Why do you stop doing that? Yeah, was it good?
Yeah, it was good. The style was interesting. The story was unique. Because pretty much you had Batman.
Yeah.
But Batman was Robin. Because Batman wasn't Bruce Wayne.
And, okay, so it was just basically a new person rising up into the cowl, which...
and the cowl was this big, like, mixed Batman with Iron Man.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much what the
sleek, skinny, skin-tight suit. Mixed Batman with Spider-Man. It was skin-tight. It was very.
It was skin-tight, but I mean, like, it had jet boots.
Yeah, but we are talking. You see, Warner Brothers has stated, and we come to expect this, that Batman is always going to get a reboot. It's always going to continue to live on in different iterations. They're always going to be trying to do new things with it. You can't expect a film series, to pop. You can't expect something as big as Batman to end just because this director made 3 films that semi-defined the genre. You can't expect that. You know why? Because it's a money-making business.
I look at Batman the same way I look at James Bond, in the way I want pirates to go.
Yeah.
I see James Bond, and everybody knows that James Bond's going to be around forever. Yeah. They didn't know that at the beginning. At the beginning, they're like, cool, we're going to make this one movie and see if it works. It worked. Let's make a couple more. And it worked. And Sean Connery was there, and they're like, cool, let's try getting someone else in there.
And then
that's when it became a legacy.
It became a film franchise that did something that no other film franchise, unbelievably, no other film franchise has really done, which was continue a franchise without necessary narrative continuity, by just saying, okay, we are going to make this story based on like this book or this adventure. We don't need to have the same actor. We'll have actors in these sort of long stretches, but it doesn't need to. Yeah. We don't need to reboot the entire franchise.
The only things that tether James Bond and that series together are he is 007, he's James Bond, he's a spy, he's British, and he works for MI3 or wherever.
MI6.
Cool.
It's twice 3, please. I know so much more about movies than you do. Even simple things, even geek things, and I'm not that geeky a guy. I won't say I'm not a geek. I won't say that, but I'm not that geeky a guy.
Duncan, our parents met at a Dungeons and Dragons tournament.
What Batman should be is just ignore like narrative sort of things like that. Just be like, okay, hand it into the hands of a certain director and put it in the hands of a certain actor and try to tell these like one film stories. Doesn't need to be a continuing arc. Just one film stories. That's all you need. But DC Comics is always they're always going to try to follow up on what Marvel has done with the Avengers, which is not the right thing, because
They are different universes that work differently.
I wouldn't care if I never saw a Justice League movie ever in my life.
They aren't interesting.
They aren't interesting.
The Justice League comics, like, I like comics. I like individual characters in the Justice League. Most Justice League comics are not extremely interesting.
No. And that's why it will never be what the Avengers is, because the Avengers is like this awesome team of individuals, and it's a tight-knit team. It's a very tight-knit team. It's
Characters were
it's
created
not all
in order
inclusive.
to exist in there.
Justice League is all-inclusive. Hey, you got some dumbass ability, you can speak to squirrels. Come fucking up here in the big space
They don't
station.
have somebody who can speak to squirrels.
Well, I'm speaking metaphorically.
Are you speaking about Aquaman? Because Aquaman's fucking badass. Okay?
What I'm interested in is the redemption of the villains, because what Christopher Nolan's Batman series did, they did some redeeming of villains that have been done not necessarily wrong, but done in a way that isn't necessarily so fortunate in the past. Like the way that Joel Schumacher came at Two-Face with Batman Forever was stupid.
Yep.
Was very stupid. It was just like, oh, he's going to be crazy. He's going to be a crazy man.
And he's not crazy.
He's a lot more than that.
Well, everybody in Batman in that is crazy to some extent.
No, but it doesn't need to be like the Joker all the way. And
No, the difference is Two-Face is bipolar. Joker is fucking like all over the place. Schizophrenic, doesn't even begin to describe it.
Yeah.
He's psychopathic. He will go to any lengths to do anything, and he has nothing to tether.
Yeah. And the Joker in the original Batman wasn't bad. He wasn't bad at all. In fact, Jack Nicholson did a pretty good job.
Yeah. Given what had been done in the past, because first we have the Batman series with Adam West. Awesome for what it was, because at the time they had superheroes, and superheroes weren't something that was serious.
Yes, it was.
They were comics, as in they were funny.
Let's make it that again.
Let's make that nice and funny. And then you had the first series, which was Tim Burton, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then Joel Schumacher.
Yeah.
And the interesting thing is, with Tim Burton did his series, and that was about 50-50 with action and comedy.
Yeah.
You had action sequences and an action plot, but with comedy characters and comedy set design.
Yeah.
Joel Schumacher pretty much took off of the same kind of thing. And the other interesting thing is, where Tim Burton's left off, Joel Schumacher took up. And they never stepped on each other's toes.
But they never did anything interesting.
They did stuff that was interesting for the time.
They never did. Schumacher didn't do something that was way different from what Burton did. That's kind of the point. That's kind of what they did with Amazing Spider-Man just now, is something that's still in the general feel of the original.
Of the prior one. Yeah.
Yeah. Another villain who was done fucking shitty. Bane. Bane
wasn't even a villain. He was a grunt.
He was a grunt, and
you don't reduce one of the best villains in a series to a grunt.
Yeah.
You don't.
You make him a grunt. You don't make him Bane. And I'm glad that...
Which is probably the main reason why I think Christopher Nolan had to do Bane in this one. It's like I see the other ones, okay, what hasn't he done? People are like, oh, you could do Deadshot. They did Deadshot in the tie-in movie, so that doesn't really work. And Deadshot's not awesome enough. You can do Penguin. No. Not worth it. It's not interesting enough. Riddler. No. It's just not it's not different enough from the Joker. Riddler would be cool, and I think Riddler is where the next series needs to start off with.
Yeah.
Or get up to is Riddler, which would be cool.
What I'd like to see Clayface at some point.
Clayface would be cool.
That would be awesome. I loved Clayface in the 2006 I think animated series of the Batman.
Where it was the Batman.
Yeah, the Batman.
The Batman would be really cool to see there. Batman was a very stylized one, because you had Batman animated series, the Batman, Batman Beyond, And I forget where the Batman Brave and the Bold right now, I think.
Yeah, which I'm not tuning into Brave and the Bold.
No.
It doesn't...
It's too kiddish, I think.
Yeah, a lot of anime shows are very kiddish nowadays.
Yeah, there's a couple. There's Young Justice, which is pretty good. But so there's Clayface, which I would like to see. That could be done really well.
Yeah.
In the Batman, he was like one of the main characters, and they morphed him.
Yeah.
He was cool. That's a second or third movie transformation that's awesome. Riddler in the beginning, I think, is good.
Yeah.
Obviously,
like the Joker, you keep him in the back. You keep him in the back as a card that you can pull when you're ready for it. It doesn't need to be first film. It doesn't even need to be second film. But keep him in the back of your mind. But don't give hints at him, because making hints at villains to come is extremely stupid.
Yeah.
Like the attempts they made to make hints in The Amazing Spider-Man at Norman Osborn, the Green Goblin, he's gonna be the next big thing.
I was okay with it.
I thought that was kind of stupid. I thought it was like, okay, this is what's coming up, guys. Get ready. It's gonna be big. You know. That sort of thing.
It was in Osborn Tower and Oscorp and all that, but we can get into that later.
Yeah. But
so
anyway,
we have Clayface, Killer Croc.
Killer Croc. Yeah.
I'd be okay with Killer Croc because they didn't do Lizard right, and since they didn't do Lizard right,
do Killer Croc.
We can do Killer Croc better than Lizard, which
Yeah.
is great because Killer Croc is really cool.
Yeah, really cool. Really cool.
Clayface, Riddler, Killer Croc. So we got our three main villains.
Bunch of CG stuff. Don't worry too much about being serious. Anyway, that's what we'd like to do.
Yeah, Mr. Freeze would be okay,
that's
but
what
I
we'd
think
like
you
to
can't
do.
really do Mr. Freeze after Schwarzenegger.
Yeah, you can try. We can hope.
We can try, and we can do it very differently. But come on,
Yeah.
he was the best Mr. Freeze.
He was the funniest Mr. Freeze.
You-
Anyway, what do you guys want to see in the Batman reboot? Where do you want it to go? We've already said where we want it to go.
We can get a little more in depth into it. I think this is kicking off Batman Week.
Batman Week.